Hey, this is Wendy and Cheney coming back to you from Knoxville, Tennessee. You remember that old hymn, We'll Understand It Better By and By?
Yeah.
Okay, I finally understand something. Like years ago, a long time ago, in my 20s, I remember this billboard. I was in college going to an internship at the hospital, and I remember a billboard across the road, and it said, if you wouldn't be caught dead in this dress, pre-plan your funeral. And I thought, oh, that's horrible. What in the world? Well, 30 something years later, I get it. And that's what we want to talk to you about today. Just that whole billboard and how important that is. You know, I'll let you start.
Okay. So it might seem kind of obvious, but when your loved one passes, you will be asked by the funeral home to bring in clothing. Now, you can be asked to bring in clothing whether you're going to be doing a burial or a cremation.
That's good.
Both can require clothing, especially if you're going to be doing any kind of a viewing, even just a private family viewing. You're going to be asked to bring in clothing. I think something really important to keep in mind is to keep it something that your loved one would actually wear.
True.
So many people kind of have the stigma of traditional, my loved one needs a suit or a dress. They didn't wear that.
No.
Don't do it to them.
No.
Did your grandpa wear overalls?
Yeah.
Did your mom like sweatpants and a t-shirt?
Right.
Doesn't bother us a bit. We'd rather them be comfy and look like themselves.
Absolutely.
For you. I think something else to keep in mind is, of course, if you are going to be viewing in a casket, is the color of the casket and the color of the interior of the casket. Say we've got a pink casket with a pink interior. Maybe we don't do a pink dress unless mom would love it. That's fine. If you like it, we like it. But kind of want to. Yeah, I kind of want to complement each other.
Or a different shade of pink.
Yeah.
You know, that's so important.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe pick out 2 or 3 outfits. I don't know.
Yeah. Something else that kind of bothers people is knowing what size to get. If you haven't had to buy clothes for your loved one recently and you feel like you need to go out and get something, that's fine. I would say sizing up is always safer.
So, a lot of times people will say they've lost so much weight, I'm going to have to go buy an outfit.
Right, which is totally fine. I will say that in most cases, to kind of best fit your loved one, our care center will cut the back of the clothing. That's going to kind of tailor it better to your loved one, whether it be a little bit small, a little bit big, or even if it's a perfect fit, it'll probably still be cut just so things can look nice and comfy.
Right. That's so good. What I've learned through this is, when my mom passed, I've shared that with you previously. I didn't know what to take to the funeral home.
Yeah.
I picked out a dress, and I was so hard on myself because I'm like, I know my mom looked good in red, but I just didn't know what to put her in. So I picked a black dress. I don't know what I was thinking, but that's all I took. And then I got to the funeral home, and they said, where's the underclothes? Where's her shoes? I felt like the worst daughter. Because I didn't think about that. And so I had to send my husband to Kmart when there was a Kmart years ago and had him go buy those things. But I felt horrible.
Yeah.
And then it came down too far. Did you touch on that?
No. So something else to keep in mind is if you're going to bring something in, it's always kind of safer to have it be higher up on the neck. So many shirts have a V-neck cut or a low scoop. It may just kind of look better, lay better to be higher neck. Same thing with long sleeves versus short sleeves or a tank top. Something with kind of older people is they usually have bruising, things like that.
But they've been in the hospital.
Exactly. Something that they probably don't want on display for people that are going to come see them. Or that you don't really want to remember them by having bruises and things. So long sleeves, high neck, and you should be good.
And back to undergarments, something to think about, and this sounds funny, but this is just real. We're just trying to be as raw with you as we can. I tell families all the time, they'll say, well, do I need to bring in a bra? And I'll say, well, if your mom, or your wife didn't like to wear a bra, don't make them wear one.
Yeah.
I will tell you, there are ways to make it look nice and appropriate, even without a bra. This is also something that is done in this industry, and this sounds funny too, but so hard how to say this. You know, I've always told our care center, and we're both licensed embalmers, but we have chosen to go the route as funeral directors right now because we just love serving our families. But they know down there, I've always said, you know, I've never been um, blessed up here. So could you give me a little bit of help when I go? I don't want it to be obnoxious, but could you just do a little magic? And they said they could. And so I'm excited about that. Not that I'm going to see it or anything, but, you know, and positioning is everything. So I'll just carry on from that. But, you know, some people have asked before, you know, well, they didn't like to wear underwear. Do we have to put them in underwear?
No, we support
Nope.
Commando.
That's right. That's
No.
right. Do they have to have socks? No, but we always put them on them.
Yeah.
So families don't bring in, you know, socks and shoes, which nobody's going to see the shoes unless it's a
No.
full, you know, a full casket,
Yeah.
which isn't typical in this area
Right.
oftentimes, but sometimes it is. And then shoes are very important.
Yeah.
But,
I just
you
think
know,
once again, it really just depends on the person.
I do
And I'll
too.
say the amount of times that we have people that are in suit or a nice skirt suit, dress, whatever, looking great, and then they have on comfy fuzzy socks, or they even have
True.
a blanket in the casket.
Or Tennessee, you know, volunteer socks or
Yeah,
something. You know, just
absolutely,
anything.
absolutely. So something else to keep it personal. Say mom loved her fuzzy socks. Absolutely, we want to put her in those.
Right.
Now I'll say too with undergarments. If you for some reason gotten here and you're like, oh
Mhm.
my goodness, I didn't realize, I forgot them. I want my loved one to have
That's
them.
true. That's
We
good.
have them. We have them here. Absolutely, we can. Not a problem.
That's good, Cheney. Really good. You know, another thing that families they stress over, and I've been there. I stressed over this with my grandmother. She always told us, you know, when I die, make sure my teeth are in, my dentures are in. Well, when she passed, they weren't, and I will tell you, there was a huge struggle at the hospital us trying to get them in,
Yeah.
and we could not get them in. It was comical. It's one of those things where at the time we weren't realizing we were making memories, but boy, is
Yeah.
it one we laugh about now. So, you know, oftentimes people will call and they're like, oh no, you know, I have their dentures, I'll bring them tomorrow. And, you know, I'm very frank with families and I'll say, listen, if you don't want to bring them, I'm going to be honest, they're already prepared.
Yeah.
And we use something called a mouth former and it looks like they have their dentures in. And so oftentimes those dentures are just kind of placed under the pillow.
Yeah. So they're still
So,
with them.
yeah.
Now, kind of building off of that, if your loved one came in with dentures, absolutely, they still have them.
Yes,
Um,
that's good.
But so many people, even though they had them, they didn't like to wear them. They don't have to wear them, but they would still be with them. Like she said,
Right.
we could have it in the casket, they're with them.
Yeah,
But you don't have to.
that's good. That's good. Jewelry, you know, this is something that's really important to think about. And once again, this may seem funny or I don't know, maybe not funny, but this is something to really think about. You know, like these earrings, most of us don't look at our loved ones lying down, but oftentimes people will bring in earrings that dangle. And when someone's lying back, you know, they get lost.
Yeah.
And, you know, there are ways to place them in areas, but, you know, things like that, that's something just really think about.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. I would definitely go with studs if you're going to do earrings.
yeah, and I would never wear studs, you know, because they're
Right.
not seen in my hair. And that's something to think about too.
Right. Right.
No.
Something kind of off of that too is so many families maybe opt out of bringing in jewelry
Yes.
because
Very
say
good.
it was a wedding band, necklace, earrings that was just so special to mom, and they want to keep that. Well,
Mhm.
you can, even if you put something on for the service, whether it be glasses or jewelry, we can take that off prior to the ending of the service. You can keep that.
Right.
But just so that everyone kind of remembers her how she typically was,
Right.
or him, same thing.
And you said, you know, I don't know if you just said this, but glasses, they'll go, well, they don't need them now. Well, no, they don't need them now, but if that's how they always, you know, they
Looks,
always
yeah.
wore them, they may look more like themselves.
Yeah.
You know, because again, we're not used to seeing our loved ones lying, you know, sleeping with their mouth closed. And so you just want to make it, you know, look as much like them as we
Yeah.
can. So, you know, sometimes maybe they always put their glasses in their pocket.
Yeah.
We'll bring them, we'll put them in their pocket.
Yeah.
You know, there's just, and, you know, be aware also, like with rings, you know, sometimes our fingers get swollen if we've been in the hospital for a while and just the treatments we've had to go through. You know, it may be that they can't fit on.
Yeah.
So, but don't ever shy away from bringing something in, you know, because you, like Cheney said, you don't want that to be gone. You want to keep that because it's very sentimental to you. So
Yeah.
I think that's good. I'm trying to think. Anything else?
No, only other thing I think, kind of building off of people thinking that they need to be in a full suit and everything, are ties.
Oh,
So, I mean,
gosh,
even if
yes.
your loved one, if you want them in a button down or suit or whatever, if they didn't like a tie, if they complained
My dad would have
every
killed
Sunday about
me.
wearing that tie,
Yeah.
do not put it on them.
Yeah.
They don't have to, but
No.
they can. And kind of going off of that too, personalized things. We get all kinds of
Yes.
UT ties. We've had Santa Claus ties. We've had crazy,
We've had,
wonderful
I
gray
know a
ties.
young girl was, the family chose to bury her in like a Cinderella dress.
Yeah, yeah, it can
Um,
be anything. It does not
yes.
have to be cookie cutter. Once
No.
again, that's not what we're about.
No,
Yeah,
absolutely not. That's great. That's
yeah,
great. So, I hope this is helpful.
yeah,
Well, I wish I would have known it.
yeah.
Would
If
have
you
been
have
good.
any questions, whether it be about this or another topic you want us to cover,
Yeah.
we're happy to do it. We're here for you, and yeah, we hope this helps.
Yeah.
Thanks for hanging out with us.
Yes, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.